Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you work, someone else always seems to move ahead while you stay unseen? The truth is, power doesn't belong to the loud or the lucky. It belongs to those who understand the quiet rules beneath the noise, the dark, unspoken laws that shape every room. Once you learn to see them, nothing looks the same again. Stay close. Entering the first law, the art of absence. Imagine standing in a world that never stops talking, where everyone is desperate to be seen, heard, noticed. And yet, those who rise above it all are often the ones who disappear. They don't vanish out of fear. They vanish to multiply their value. They understand something most never will. Constant presence breeds indifference. When you are everywhere, you become background noise. When you step back, even for a moment, the silence you leave behind begins to speak louder than any word could. There is a strange power in being missed. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Withdraw into yourself." The rational soul is stronger when it stands alone. Absence is not weakness. It's a forge. When you retreat from the crowd, you give space for your worth to take shape, like iron hardening away from the flame. The world doesn't chase what it already holds in its hands. It chases what slips through its fingers. Think of the rarest things in life: gold buried deep in the earth, the quiet sage who appears only when his wisdom is needed, the leader who speaks so rarely that every word becomes a signal, not a sound. Their scarcity is not by accident. It's discipline, a conscious decision to make their presence sacred, to turn showing up into an event rather than a habit. Seneca once said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." He was right. The one who constantly seeks to be seen ends up invisible. The one who learns to step away commands attention without asking for it. When you detach from the need for approval, you reclaim control over your influence. Your silence becomes a mirror that makes others listen harder, look deeper, wonder more. So, create distance with intention. Disappear to refine yourself, not to escape the world, but to return sharper, clearer, stronger. When you reappear, don't come back as you were. Come back transformed, evolved, undeniable. The wise never demand attention. They draw it without effort. That is the essence of power: to be desired but not dependent, to be sought but never chasing. Step back, let the world wonder where you went, because in your absence, your true presence begins. Moving into the second law, the silence behind every alliance. Trust, the most beautiful word in human language and the most dangerous in the game of power. We crave it, we build our lives around it, and yet it's the very rope that often pulls us down. Because those who stand closest to you are not always your protection. Sometimes they are the hands holding the knife. Now imagine a room of allies, laughter filling the air, promises exchanged, eyes shining with loyalty. You feel safe, maybe too safe. That's when the danger begins. Marcus Aurelius once warned, "See things for what they are," and this law is precisely that. A call to see beyond illusion. The illusion that trust equals safety. The illusion that loyalty guarantees truth. In reality, trust is a currency, and like gold, it can corrupt those who hold too much of it. History remembers not the loud betrayers, but the quiet confidants. The ones who listened deeply, mirrored perfectly, and learned everything before they struck. Think of the advisor whispering into the ear of an emperor, nodding with sincerity, echoing every thought, until the day the throne was theirs. They didn't conquer by force. They conquered by reflection, by becoming what others believed them to be. The Stoics understood this danger long before politics or kingdoms gave it form. Seneca wrote, "You must live among men as if God saw you. Speak to men as if they saw God." In modern words, that means be watchful. See everyone clearly, even those who smile. Because the true Stoic never sleeps with both eyes closed in the house of power. There's nothing cruel in this law. It isn't about deceit. It's about awareness. Trust, when given recklessly, is a key left in the wrong door. It doesn't mean you stop connecting. It means you connect with clarity. You listen more, speak less. Observe the motives beneath every word. Because in a world where knowledge is control, the one who collects the truth quietly commands the game. So remember this: not everyone who listens is your friend. Not everyone who praises you is harmless. Let your faith be deliberate, not blind. Guard your circle as you guard your peace. Trust is a gift, and the wise give it like a sword, not a flower. Advancing to the third law, the quiet truth about human nature. We often tell ourselves that goodness will be rewarded, that loyalty guarantees support, that if we give enough, people will give back. But life teaches a colder, cleaner truth. People don't move for virtue, they move for value. Not because they are cruel, but because that is the nature of survival. Even the Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must act as the world is, not as you wish it to be." So here's where many stumble. They keep appealing to hearts when they should be appealing to interest. They plead for fairness instead of creating alignment. You can spend a lifetime waiting for someone to recognize your worth, or you can structure your world so that helping you becomes beneficial to them. This is not manipulation, it's wisdom. A Stoic knows that influence is not won through pity, it's earned through clarity. Picture this: a man with vision stands before a crowd, asking for trust. They nod politely, but no one moves. Then he returns not with words, but with a plan that shows how every hand that joins him will rise together. Suddenly, doors open, support appears, not because hearts softened, but because motives aligned. That is power, not emotional leverage, strategic harmony. Seneca once said, "Expecting the world to be fair because you are good is like expecting a lion not to eat you because you are kind." The wise understand this law deeply. The world doesn't bend for virtue, it responds to structure. If you want others to walk beside you, make the path rewarding for them too. There are two kinds of people, those who wait to be chosen and those who make themselves essential. Those who beg to be understood and those who become useful. The second group moves quietly, yet everything around them begins to revolve in their favor. So stop trying to convince. Stop asking to be seen. Build value that cannot be ignored. Speak in the language of benefit, not emotion. When your success becomes a mirror for theirs, you'll never need to chase loyalty again, because once people see their own victory in your rise, they'll carry you forward willingly. And that is how the Stoic moves through a self-interested world, not by pleading for kindness, but by mastering alignment. Entering the fourth law, the quiet weapon of kindness. There is a certain kind of power that doesn't roar, it smiles, it listens, it makes others feel safe, and in that safety, their guard begins to fall. That's when true influence begins, not through force, but through softness used with precision. Now imagine a world where everyone sharpens their words, but forgets how to sharpen their silence, where people rush to dominate while the wise simply observe. The Stoics understood this contrast deeply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." To the Stoic, calm is not weakness, it's a tactic, and kindness, when deliberate, can move armies. In the chronicles of history, the most feared leaders were not those who destroyed without thought, but those who understood restraint. They conquered hearts before they conquered lands. A general who offered peace before striking created loyalty that even victory could not break. Kindness in his hands became a weapon sharper than any blade. He would give bread to the hungry city, speak gently to its rulers, and let them believe he came as a friend. And when resistance dissolved into trust, he acted swiftly, completely. That is the danger of comfort. It blinds the unguarded. Seneca once warned, "He who does not guard his heart will hand his chains to another." Generosity without awareness leads to ruin. The wise give, but with intention. They offer warmth without surrendering the flame. They know that appearing harmless is sometimes the strongest defense, because no one fears what seems soft. But softness can hide strategy. A calm word can open more doors than 100 shouts. In a world built on perception, the mask of sincerity is both shield and sword. Those who rush to prove their honesty are often the first to be deceived. But those who understand the power of selective generosity control every exchange. They reveal little, give just enough, and watch as others reveal themselves completely. So disarm with grace. Offer peace, but keep your edge. Let your kindness be intentional, your warmth controlled, your silence measured. Because real strength doesn't need to strike first. It waits, smiling, until the right moment to act. And when it does, no one sees it coming. Moving into the fifth law, the quiet architecture of power. In every circle of influence, there are those who shine brightly and those who hold the structure together in silence. The crowd often praises the first, the wise study the second. Because true power is not in being admired, it's in being needed. Loyalty is rarely born from love. It's born from dependence, and the moment people realize they can live, work, or win without you, your name fades from their lips like dust in the wind. Now, imagine a kingdom at its peak, banners high, the court bustling with voices. A king sits on his throne, certain of his supremacy, yet the pulse of his empire beats in the hands of one quiet advisor. He doesn't command armies, he doesn't seek applause. He simply holds the key to the system itself, the knowledge that no one else possesses. When he's gone, the gears stop turning. The empire collapses not because the throne was empty, but because the foundation was. That, my friend, is real influence, the kind that doesn't shout, but whose absence echoes louder than any speech. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." The Stoic understands that to endure in any system, you must become essential to its flow. Not by control, not by force, but by mastery. The one who can do what others cannot, or who holds understanding that others depend upon, commands silently. Seneca would call this the art of positioning, the wisdom of giving just enough while keeping the irreplaceable within yourself. In ancient Rome, ministers and scholars learned this lesson through survival. They never revealed everything they knew. They gave kings comfort, but never full clarity. Because when those above you believe they've outgrown you, you're already gone. The wise keep one truth, one skill, one insight, one key that cannot be replicated. So ask yourself, if you vanished tomorrow, would your world stumble or would it simply move on? The answer reveals your standing. In a world that forgets generosity but remembers necessity, be necessary. Build systems that breathe through your knowledge. Solve problems no one else can touch. And do it quietly. Because real strength isn't seen in the crowd's praise, it's felt in the silence that follows your absence. Make that silence heavy, make it known. That is how you become indispensable. Advancing to the sixth law, guard your peace like a sacred fire. There comes a point in every journey where talent and discipline are not enough. You can work harder, think sharper, plan smarter, but if your surroundings are poisoned, your strength will wither in silence. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus once said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish by those who do not understand." He meant this: protect your space, even if it means standing alone. Now, imagine a man of great skill. His mind was a blade, sharp, precise, unyielding. He worked tirelessly, rose early, pushed beyond fatigue. Yet everything around him began to decay. His ventures failed, his relationships soured, trust turned to betrayal. For a long time he believed it was fate testing him. But then one night, as he sat in the quiet wreckage of his own effort, he saw the pattern. It wasn't the world that was broken, it was the company he kept. He was surrounded by people who thrived on chaos, the complainers, the victims, the dreamers who never acted. Their words were poison wrapped in sympathy. Their habits leaked into his. Their instability infected his focus. And so he made the hardest decision a strong man can make. He began to cut away the noise, not with anger, but with clarity. Slowly, silence returned. And in that silence, so did his peace. Within a year, his world transformed. Not because he changed, but because he stopped allowing others to drag his strength into their weakness. Seneca warned, "Associate with those who will make you better." The Stoics saw relationships not as emotional entanglements, but as exchanges of energy and virtue. You rise or you decay based on who walks beside you. Some people are not unlucky, they are unguarded. They let storms into their home and wonder why their walls fall. So guard your circle as you would guard your mind. Your energy is the foundation of every victory. Protect it from the unstable, the bitter, the endlessly chaotic. You cannot heal those who choose their misery, but you can choose not to join their storm. Because in the end, peace is not something found, it is something protected. And the man who protects his peace protects his destiny. Entering the seventh law, where silence becomes your sharpest blade. There will come a time when words feel useless, when no amount of explaining will make people see your truth. When you realize that some minds are not closed by ignorance, but by choice. This is where most people fall. They argue, they fight to be understood. But the Stoic stands still. Because he knows that arguing with a fool is like wrestling in the mud. Both get dirty, but only one of them enjoys it. Now imagine a man walking through a crowd that mocks his every move. He hears the whispers, feels the eyes that question him, but he never breaks stride. He doesn't defend, he doesn't retaliate, he simply keeps walking. Days later, his results speak for him, louder, cleaner, beyond debate. That is the essence of this law. Win through your actions, never through arguments. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Words are smoke. Action is fire." The man who acts needs no validation. His work is the proof. But the one who constantly explains himself lives chained to the opinions of others. The Stoics remind us, control what you can, release what you cannot. You cannot control another person's understanding. But you can control the discipline that builds something undeniable. I once met a craftsman who lived by this creed. For years, he was ridiculed, too quiet, too stubborn, too slow. While others talked of innovation, he worked in silence. When they mocked, he nodded. When they bragged, he listened. And one morning, his creation stood completed, simple, precise, magnificent. The same people who mocked him began to quote him. His silence had become his statement. So let the world talk. Let them underestimate you, misjudge you, or call you cold. Every second you spend defending yourself is a second stolen from your purpose. Speak less. Build more. Let your discipline answer what your words never could. Because in a world obsessed with noise, calm execution is rebellion. Don't react, rise. Don't explain, excel. Let your life become the argument no one can refute. In the end, silence wins every debate it refuses to enter. From here we enter the 8th law, the stillness that pulls the world toward you. There's a quiet dignity in the one who doesn't chase. The world moves fast, desperate hands reaching, restless hearts running. Everyone is trying to be seen, to be chosen, to belong. But those who understand power know this truth. The one who chases becomes forgettable. The one who waits with intention becomes unforgettable. Imagine standing at the center of a storm, motionless, unshaken, while everything around you swirls in chaos. That is presence. That is command. The Stoics called it control from within. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Power begins there. Not in pursuit, but in posture. When you chase people, whether in love, in business, or in influence, you're sending a message. You are the prize, not me. The more you reach, the smaller you become. But when you stand still with calm purpose, something shifts. The balance of gravity changes. Those who once ignored you begin to notice. Your silence starts to speak. I once watched a man in a negotiation say nothing for an entire hour. The others tried to fill the void, talking faster, offering more, revealing their intentions without realizing it. When he finally spoke, his words landed like stones in still water. Because when you don't chase, the world has to come to you to find its rhythm. Seneca once warned, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." The same applies to attention. The more you give, the less it's worth. So create distance with precision. Withdraw not from arrogance, but from wisdom. Make your absence feel like gravity, heavy, magnetic, impossible to ignore. Build value so undeniable that others begin to crave what you offer. True respect is never earned by running after it. It's earned by standing firm when others stumble over their need to be seen. Patience is not passive, it's power held in reserve. So stop chasing noise, build substance, let your calm become a force field that draws the right people, the right moments, the right outcomes toward you. Because in the end, power doesn't run, it waits. It doesn't beg, it attracts. And the one who learns to hold their frame commands the room without saying a word. At this stage, lead the vision, own the outcome. Power doesn't reward the hardest worker. It rewards the one who directs the work, the one who shapes perception while others carry the weight. History remembers the architect, not the builder. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. In power, that means this: control the story or be written out of it. Picture a monument rising from stone. Hundreds labor, sweat, and carve, yet when the dust settles, only one name is remembered, the one who saw the vision first. The world doesn't honor effort alone. It honors the mind that leads, the hands that guide, the voice that defines direction. The Stoic sees this not as arrogance, but as awareness, using structure with intention. Seneca said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Hard work without strategy builds someone else's empire." Influence lies not in exhaustion, but in orchestration, in building systems that move even when you rest. So ask yourself, are you shaping your own legacy or serving another's? The Stoics taught that virtue is purposeful action, not blind labor. Work with vision, lead with clarity. Because effort fades, legacy remains. Be the architect, not the forgotten builder. Lead the vision and own the outcome. Entering the 10th law, be so real they cannot ignore you. There is a silence worse than hatred, indifference. It erases names, efforts, and legacies. In this world, obscurity is death. You can be wise, skilled, and disciplined, but if no one sees you, you vanish. The Stoics valued substance over show, yet even they knew truth must be seen to survive. Picture a craftsman working in darkness, his art flawless but unseen. He dies unknown, his brilliance buried with him. Another man, less gifted but bold, steps into the light. His work imperfect, yet his name endures. That's the difference between being good and being visible. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity. The echo only exists if there is sound, presence, movement. Integrity is not a whisper. It's the mark that time cannot erase. To influence, you must enter minds and stay there, not by shouting, but by embodying what others only pretend to be." History remembers those who dared to be seen. Loved or hated, they were never ignored. Even enemies feed your legacy when they cannot forget you. Seneca said, "The path to greatness is rough. To rise, you must bear both praise and judgment." So ask yourself, does your name stir the air or fall like dust? Command attention with clarity, conviction, and truth. History is written by those bold enough to be seen or disappear. Advancing to the 11th law, let your comeback echo through the silence. There will come a moment when life brings you to your knees, not to destroy you, but to reveal what strength truly is. The crowd will watch, some will doubt, others will mock. And in that stillness, you will face a choice: remain broken or rise so completely that even the ground remembers where you stood. The Stoics called this the forge. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle refines you, testing not your power, but your patience. The comeback isn't about proving the world wrong, it's about proving yourself unshakable. Imagine a man once humiliated, his name forgotten. He vanished, worked in silence, and returned transformed. His results spoke louder than revenge. The same mouths that once mocked now whispered his name with respect. The world remembers storms, not breezes. Presence matters. Your image is the armor through which the world perceives your spirit. So craft it with discipline. Project not arrogance, but certainty, fear, and respect. These are the currencies of perception. You don't need to be cruel, only unbreakable. Let your silence hold weight and your rise make noise, because indifference fades, but greatness echoes. Fall with grace, rise with power. Be remembered not for how you fell, but for how the earth trembled when you stood again. Moving into the 12 law, guard your words, guard your power. There is a weapon sharper than any blade, quieter than any whisper. You carry it in your mouth, and once drawn, it cannot be sheathed again. The Stoics understood this truth better than anyone, that language when undisciplined can undo even the strongest mind. Now imagine a man standing before a crowd, his confidence spilling from every sentence. He believes his words make him powerful, that speaking more makes him heard. But the wise one watching from the corner knows better. The more he speaks, the more he exposes. Every story, every emotion, every careless detail, another crack in the armor. Those who listen begin to map him out, predict him, manipulate him. And soon, his strength becomes a script they've already memorized. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your words paint your thoughts too freely, others will color them for you. That's why the Stoics practiced measured speech, not to suppress truth, but to preserve strength. They spoke with precision. Every word had weight. Silence was not emptiness, it was control. Seneca once warned, "Speech is the mirror of the mind." To reveal too much is to hand your reflection to the wrong eyes. The disciplined man learns to say less, to let curiosity work for him. Mystery breeds respect. Noise breeds dismissal. Look at the great generals, philosophers, leaders. They were not the ones who spoke most, but the ones who made every word a blade. In a world obsessed with expression, silence has become the rarest art. People mistake restraint for weakness, but restraint is a form of dominance. The quiet man unsettles because no one knows what he's thinking. They guess, they project, they fear. That uncertainty is power. So hold your tongue as you would a sword, not in fear, but in mastery. Speak only when your words serve your purpose. Reveal little. Listen deeply. Let others underestimate your silence while you study their noise, because in the realm of power, curiosity is currency and mystery is protection. When you learn to control your words, you no longer chase respect, you command it. Speak when it strengthens your position. Until then, let your composure speak before your words ever need to. Entering the 13 law and conceal the path, reveal the result. In a world where everyone broadcasts their every move, silence becomes a weapon. The greatest mistake you can make is to let others see your direction before you arrive, because once your intentions are known, they are no longer yours. They belong to the world, to its judgments, to its interference. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, "Be silent for the most part, or say only what is necessary." Restraint is wisdom in action. The one who speaks too soon gives others the map to his downfall, but the one who moves unseen, calm, deliberate, unreadable, becomes untouchable. Imagine a strategist who reveals nothing. His enemies guess, his rivals gossip, yet no one truly knows. When he finally strikes, it feels sudden, inevitable, unstoppable. That is the art of quiet execution. The louder the world gets, the more powerful silence becomes. Reveal only what strengthens your position. Let curiosity work for you, while others seek attention, seek advantage. When you hide your path, your actions strike with double force, because no one was ready. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy, so while others brag, you build. While they announce, you advance. And when you finally act, let your success arrive like thunder after a long, deceptive calm. Because in the end, what they don't see, they can't stop." Advancing to the 14 law, transform opposition into strength. There's a strange truth about power. Your enemies are often more useful than your friends. Friends grow comfortable, careless, entitled. They expect your success to serve them. But enemies, they stay alert. They study you. They sharpen you. And once won over, Their loyalty runs deeper because it was earned through fire, not given by comfort. The Stoics understood this balance well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't speaking only of obstacles, but of people too. Opposition is not a curse, it's an instrument. The wise don't rush to destroy every rival. They study them, redirect them, turn resistance into momentum. History whispers this lesson through every empire. Caesar fell not by his enemies, but by the friend he trusted most. Napoleon was betrayed by his inner circle, not by those who openly opposed him. The Stoic doesn't label people as friend or foe, only as forces to be understood and directed. A reformed enemy, loyal by choice, becomes sharper than any ally born of comfort. But a complacent friend, softened by envy or ease, becomes unpredictable and dangerous. The wise see clearly through both. So don't fear tension, command it. Don't waste emotion on resentment, convert it into leverage. Influence belongs to the one who turns threat into opportunity and hostility into fuel. Because in the end, it's not your allies who define your strength, but how you master those who once stood against you. As we step into the 15 law, master yourself before challenging power, there's a dangerous temptation that comes with brilliance, the need to be seen, to prove that your light burns brighter than the rest. But in the game of power, light can be lethal. The moment your glow begins to threaten the one who stands above you, the shadow moves, and it swallows you whole. Marcus Aurelius warned, "Do not waste yourself in the glory of appearance." Power isn't always logical, it's emotional. Those who hold it fear not failure, but irrelevance. And when your rise reminds them of their fall, they will strike, not out of reason, but out of insecurity. History remembers the fallen prodigies, Galileo, Copernicus, minds too brilliant too soon. They were silenced, not for being wrong, but for being too right before their time. The Stoic plays the long game. He hides his flame until the wind is right. Let others feel superior, while you steer the course unseen. To master others, you must first master yourself, your pride, your timing, your need to be acknowledged. True strength doesn't crave recognition. It waits for the moment when recognition is unavoidable. So protect the egos above you, not because you fear them, but because you understand them. Let them believe they lead while you quietly pull the strings. Patience is the highest form of strategy, and when the time comes, rise not in their shadow, but beyond their reach. For power gained too loudly dies quickly, but power that grows in silence endures forever. True power is not always found in movement. Sometimes it lives in stillness, in the quiet strength of those who no longer need to prove anything. The wise do not chase attention. They shape the room simply by standing in it. When you learn to move with calm purpose instead of noise, you begin to command without demanding. That is where real influence begins. If these words spoke to something within you, take a moment to subscribe and stay connected to this journey of awareness and mastery. And share your reflection below with 2 simple words. Choose power. Keep walking the path with discipline and quiet confidence. Because every moment you hold your center, you rise above the noise. The next lesson awaits, and it may change the way you see strength forever.